Really?
So none of that was talked about, right?
Right, no.
No, okay.
No. All we knew was that only 4 of those, they had 13 children, and only 4 of them grew up. And one of them went off to be a priest, and he died. And I don't know how the others died at all, but 4 grew up, and Hugh raised a family. We used to be very friendly with that family.
That was Pop's brother?
Yeah. And the other one was George. And George was the oldest, and Pop was the youngest.
Did Hugh own the gas station? Somebody owned a gas station over in Parkville. It was an Esso station?
No.
No, I got the wrong person?
No, that isn't in our family at all.
Okay.
Now, Hugh worked for, what's the ham people?
SK?
SK. Hugh worked for SK.
Okay.
And all his children, as they grew up, worked for SK too.
Okay.
His boys.
And they were Simses?
And they were Sims. Yeah.
All right, and you said, I think you told me, George, Pop's father, owned a store.
He owned a store in Southern Maryland.
Right.
In St. Mary's County.
Okay.
And then Pop never knew his father working. He had retired by that time, sold the store, and had moved to Baltimore. He just lived off of his children.
Okay.
And his children, wherever. He certainly lived with us for sure.
Oh, Pop's parents lived with you too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so both of them lived with us. And I can remember that he died, and the picture that the people that found him, he died getting out of bed and just died. And I think he was one that had prostate cancer.
Did Miss Coombs, his wife, did she outlive him?
Oh yes. And she was supposed to alternate visits, with either living with us or living with Aunt Janie. And she didn't like Janie. So it ended up she lived with us all the time.
Okay. And she was the one you said she was very frail, and then every time she had a child she got stronger or something?
Yes. She had TB.
Oh.
And she got stronger with every child she had. So she had 13 children. And two of them were born in the same year. My father's name was Andrew Jackson Sims, but it was not named after the Preston. It was named after a doctor that they knew whose name was Andrew Jackson.
Okay.
So we couldn't claim that we were descended from a Preston.
All right, and then you were telling Emmett, I guess, or you've told Pop. I thought this was interesting the other day. You said kids didn't go to school till they were 9 or something?
9. And so they were 16 when they got out of the 8th grade.
Okay, so they went to grade school,
Yeah,
and then Pop became a runner for a bank
for a
downtown.
bank. He was 16 years old, so he went to work. You didn't, I mean, you were lucky if you went to high school in those days.
Right. And he worked for several banks downtown, or did he stay with the same one?
Yes, and I know the banks. I did write those down. And it was well, of course, they're not in existence. And it was National Union Bank, it was called. It was down on Baltimore Street. And I knew that well. And it was the National Union and then became the Maryland National. And that was in the tall building down, I don't know what street it's on downtown, but it was the tallest building in Baltimore at the time. Goodbye. The banks, remember the banks that you had that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, with the globe on one
I
end.
said I thought that I should take those back to the bank that it is now, and I don't know what followed the Maryland National.
I don't know who has those banks now. I think maybe Dottie had one, didn't she?
I think so. So Lee probably has the bank. There's only one left,
Okay.
and I don't know what happened.
I remember playing with them as a kid.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back to your childhood. Because I tried to look up, well, tell the story of Aunt Regina and the piano. Just,
Well, Regina always took piano lessons at school, and she was very good at it. Apparently, of course, everything she did, she was good at, and and she was always in the concerts. They always had a concert, at the end of the year to show off the pupils. And she was 13, and she was in the 8th grade. Graduated from the 8th grade, and it was summertime. And they had this citywide contest of piano players. And they had 3 grades. They had children, and they had in between, which she belonged to, and then they had seniors. And so I do remember the name of the senior one, who was Dorothy Freitag, and she was busy in Baltimore after that in the music world. I think she worked in a music store, and then I don't know what, but anyhow, she often gave concerts, and sometime we went. I think I went to. I've heard her play. Anyhow, and then Regina was the middle one, and I can remember my mother and father going to the finals, which was at the Lyric. And friends of ours were named DeCourt, and they went with them down to the Lyric, and so he wandered around when they had in between
right.
the different ones playing. And he came back when they all got seated another time. I mean, after that, after the rest periods. And he came in and he said, "Oh, she's doing very well." He said, "I heard him say that that Sims girl, the Regina Sims, she's doing very well." I mean, they were talking among themselves. And it was the people that were
The judges?
the judges.
Oh, so he overheard the judges talk.
And so he said, and the judges were saying that she did very well. And she said that for a child 13, her pedal work was excellent. And all we remembered was her pedal work. And of course, for years, I knew the piece that she played. And she used to play it often. She played it for different people because people would ask her. And it was a beautiful thing. And because I've heard it, and I used to hear it on the radio, and I mean in different things. Every now and then you'd hear this piece that she played. But anyhow, so of course then it was announced that night that she won. So, and it was not a baby grand piano, it was intermediate, which meant it was a little larger than a baby grand.
What did you had to arrange to get that in the house then, right?
We always had to have a living room that was over 16 feet. So, but it wasn't hard. I mean, houses were 19 feet wide, usually. So
did she play a lot when you were growing up?
Oh, yeah.
All the time, every night or something?
And then she always played. So we always had classical music in the house. It was going on because she had to practice. And so then as we grew up, I played the violin so that we would play together. And then Jack came along, and then he started playing the saxophone. And so we had the three. And a picture that I know we have somewhere, was of the three of us with our instruments. And we used to play together.
Cool. So then Uncle Jack went to what, Loyola High School?
Yeah.
And then did he go to college, or did he join the Jesuits after high school?
No, he entered after high school. And he entered as a Jesuit, and he the duty in the confessional bothered him. He couldn't imagine that he should decide that anybody sinned or they didn't sin. And it's so much so that he came home. And so, which really upset my mother and father. They didn't know what was going on with him, but he came home and he worked for driving a truck for somebody, some big company. Not a big company because it wasn't a big truck. And then he decided that he had a vocation he had to go back into. So he went back to the Jesuits as a brother instead of as a priest.
Okay.
So.
So he was like 18 or 19 when he did that?
Mm-hmm.
So you would have been how old then? You were like 14 or 14?
I'd be 13, yeah. He was 4.5 years older than I.
And you went to Mount St. Agnes, right?
Yeah.
And so did Aunt Regina go there too?
Well, she went there, and I didn't know. She went on scholarship.
Because of her piano ability?
No, it was mental.
Smart?
She was just smart. And I mean, it was just, she was just the best one in the class. So she went, and that probably was the only way she could have gone, because now we're into the Depression. And so I don't know where she would have gone. Where she would have gone public school, I guess.
So,
but she went as, and then when I came along, when I got to high school, they strained themselves, I'm sure, for me to go to Mount St. Agnes, because they paid for me.
What did Ma and Pop do for social life?
Oh, that's when the red dress comes in.
I got it right here.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'd love to show it. I'm going to show this to people here.
I kept it aside. It almost falls apart if you touch it. It's so
Huh?
the fabric is so delicate it almost falls apart.
I know. And underneath the arms where you perspire, that's probably, I think that is raggedy. Anyhow,
So that's a flapper dress there?
flapper,
Okay.
yeah. When you did the Charleston.
Oh, well, let's open it up because there's beads and everything on here too, right?
Oh yeah, it's a gorgeous dress.
All right. So I guess I don't know what that is. Cotton, I guess. There's your beads.
It's chiffon. This was a.
Oh, this is
up
the
here,
body of it. Okay.
up here.
All right.
This is a slip,
Okay.
and so you wore this under that.
That's cool looking.
Yeah. And they were straight down, and
So now, the pictures we have of Maya, how big was she? Because this is a pretty small dress, isn't it?
she was small. She was small like Regina.
Okay.
Regina took after her. I took after Pop.
We have that dress, but did they go out a lot, or did they entertain at home, or what?
Well, they did go out, but going out was being invited to somebody's house to dinner.
Right.
And there were 12 of them that were friends.
Oh, so they had like a dinner club?
And they had a dinner. They definitely had a dinner club because I remember that James Edlin was a very close friend of theirs, and we were the ones that served the coffee. And he said, "Where are those waitresses that you have? They were supposed to keep my cup full." And of course, we were out in the kitchen ready to kill him. And Pop was known as the prankster, and he was. They was saying, what was the saying against him? He's tricky as hell. Hate that Sims guy. He's tricky as hell, and of course, Pop loved to tell him. And
Now, he must have looked. Pop was a handsome guy.